Have you ever gone into your closet and looked around and thought, I have nothing to wear? Yeah, probably you and the vast majority of the universe, because it can be really challenging, especially whenever you reach a certain point in your life, to just figure out, what should I be wearing to work? So today we're going to get some answers to that, because I have somebody on my show who I have worked with in various capacities. We've actually had mutual clients, but she comes at executive presence from one standpoint. I come at it from another standpoint, but it's all about giving people confidence in how they come across. So her name is Claire Roberts, and she is the owner of Claire Roberts Style. She is a wardrobe stylist and certified color analyst. And so she's going to talk about how all of that comes into play in her world and how she can make all of us feel better whenever we go into our closets and come out of our closets and go out into the world reflecting the personal brand that we want to reflect. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Karin Reed. I'm a 4-time author, Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist, and communication expert on helping people to own the room, whether it be a physical one or a virtual one. Welcome to Speaker Dynamics. Claire Roberts, welcome to Speaker Dynamics Own the Room. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And this actually springs from our lunch conversation, but just to give our listeners and our viewers a little heads up, I first heard about you or found out about you because I was taking note of one of my clients at a mutual client of ours who I thought always looked really sharp. And I think I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you do this all on your own? Or like, who helps you?
Yeah.
And she told me your name. And then I started stalking you on Instagram. And I continue to stalk you on Instagram. But you do just such a fabulous job with making people look their best. But I want to know a little bit about your journey and how you got to be doing what you do, and tell our viewers about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, growing up, I would lay on my bed and look at all the J.Crew catalogs that I could possibly get my hands on.
When we had catalogs,
yeah,
right?
Like 17 and YM and all those. And I was just really drawn to like the idea of almost like costuming, like what you wear can like sort of set the tone or set the mood for what you're doing. And I don't know, I was just always fascinated by it. But I was also really in love with the idea of owning a business and sort of the everything that comes with that, the marketing, the, financials, all of that. And went to NC State for college, got a degree in business, and then started working at SAS, not to be confused with Saks, in this industry.
Or Scandinavian Airlines or any of the things. Yes, SAS Institute. Yeah, right. Yeah. So you were very much in the corporate world, right?
Yes. In the corporate world, was trained in sales and did software sales for 10 years. And I loved it. And I learned amazingly wonderful skills and really got an education in what it's like to dress for the corporate environment as well. But after 10 years, I was really ready to do something different. So a friend of mine said, you always look great. Like you dress great. Why don't you think about doing something in styling? And I was like, well, nobody makes a living in styling, especially in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right.
And she said, well, just promise me that you'll investigate. So I ordered all these books online and found out about image consulting and just started learning more about like the science behind dressing, psychology of color, all those different things. And then was really fortunate to make a contact in Durham, North Carolina with Bev Duane. And she had run a business doing image consulting for about 20 years and was very successful. And she's a lovely woman. We still keep in touch, but she sort of took me under her wing, taught me a lot about the business, got me hooked up with additional education. And I started my business really small, just like helping friends and family. And at first, Raleigh was just that market where it was like, never even heard of a stylist,
right?
A wardrobe stylist. But as our market has grown and we've we have a lot of people who've moved here from larger metropolitan areas where having styling available to them was more the norm. I think it's sort of soaked in here. People are more open to it. And now, 17, 18 years later, it's just a great business to be in. And that's how I ended up here.
Right. And it's like you're in the business of making people feel good about themselves. And yeah. I think that is a fabulous place to sit. But tell me a little bit about who works with you. Who are your clients?
Yeah. So I would say primarily work with women, but I also do take men clients. I would say it's about sort of an 80 to 20 ratio. But a lot of my female clients, when I first started, a lot of my female clients were sort of just starting out in their careers. Maybe they were coming back into the workplace after having kids, and they were just sort of baffled by what to wear.
Yeah.
Now I would say I work with a lot of executive women who are working on their executive presence, like a lot about.
Right.
Who, for whatever reason, they may have busy schedules, or they may just not be someone who feels savvy at dressing themselves or finding the right pieces, and they need help. Also, I think our retail market has changed so much. And so a lot of people are just kind of confused by, how do I even find pieces now?
Oh, no doubt.
So, yeah.
I mean, I really wish I had you with me the other day because I had to find a dress for a wedding. And I'm like, all right, who's wearing the stuff that is on the rack? Like I cannot get away with a very flowery, like prairie dress. Like what? I'm like, what is this? I'm nearly 6 feet tall. I look like a picnic table with a picnic, like a tablecloth over it, like literally. So I think you do get to a point where you're like, I am not 20 years old. I'm also not 80 years old. Like, what the heck am I supposed to wear? And so I completely understand why people would be like, please give me some guidance on this because, and I want to ask you about this whole idea of like executive presence kind of combining with, executive wardrobe, because I got to imagine that has shifted since you started doing this, because how long have you been in this business?
I mean, now I think about 17 or 18 years I've been doing it. Yeah.
So and how has that changed? Like in what with the expectations for what people wear to work now?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely gotten more casual. COVID sort of forced us all into the athleisure era. And so for years, I feel like it's like everybody's just been super duper casual. Except for attorneys, and the attorneys still seem to have to like wear a suit, especially if they're going to court.
Yes. And banking too, I find.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But now I'm seeing people who seem to want to, they just want to dress up more. It's like the fashion and the executive presence are sort of coming together. And so we're seeing maybe a little bit more formality come back, but it's being done with a lot of color and a lot of like new silhouettes and lines, especially kind of along the suiting genre of clothing, where women are getting to wear a lot more color and have fun, with some curvier lines and things like that. So, I feel like right now we're kind of in this sweet spot where we're taking advantage of getting a little bit more formality back, but also doing it with a lot of fun.
And a lot of flair and expression. And actually to that point, like whenever you're working with a client, how tightly knitted together is, the wardrobe that you're selecting for them and just all the accessories that go with it, with their leadership brand and their personal brand?
Yeah. So I think that I really try to lead my clients through discussion about that, because I do feel like, it's a great opportunity to take your brand and your personality and pull that thread through what you're wearing and be expressive that way. And so we definitely have discussions about that. Color is huge in that that discussion, just because it is so, for most of us, choices of color is so rooted in like psychology and how we view a person. And so I really strongly believe in the idea of color analysis and like the power of color in a person's brand and what they're wearing.
Okay, well, let's actually dig into that.
Okay.
No, I know that this is kind of like some special sauce that you have.
It is. It really
you are
is.
huge into color analysis, but I really don't know much about that. I do remember, like, my mom was a Mary Kay lady of all things, right? And so I think she also worked with somebody who did some color analysis, but it was, I'm sure, very rudimentary. And I don't know what the science was behind it, but it was basically like you are a spring, a summer, a fall, or whatever. And I don't remember what I was. I was really young. I don't even know if I wore makeup at that time, but like, I didn't know what that meant. So when you think about color analysis, like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah. Well, I was the same as you. So I remember my mom and my grandmother doing color analysis. I think it would have been in like the early 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a program called Color Me Beautiful.
I think you're right.
And I still have her book from that program. And at the time, I mean, I just thought it was something fun that my mom and grandmother were doing. But like looking back on it now, I'm like, oh yeah, well, that made so much sense. Now color science has improved so much and it's just evolved over the years. So now we sort of understand, as analysts, we understand that there are certain sort of seasons of color that are going to be more or less harmonious with a person's natural coloring.
Okay.
So the object of color analysis is to really find that set of colors that is most harmonious with a person's natural coloring. And so that would be like the skin on their neck and their face, the color of their eyes, the color of their lips. And so we're looking at all of that and trying to find that set of colors that's the most harmonious. And so if you look at somebody and like, let's just say they have on like one color head to toe, but they look like just perfect. It's probably because that color is very harmonious with their natural coloring.
Okay.
So with all of my clients, we do color analysis, and then I use all of that information when I'm shopping for them and when I'm styling for them, because it also has implications for not only your wardrobe, but your makeup, the color of your hair, the accessory like tones. So like that could mean metals or jewels. And like what
silver or gold, like what you're,
yeah.
I have to ask you though, do you often find that people are attracted to things that are not flattering to them or vice versa?
I know, it's funny. So I was just having a conversation with a client this morning because she came in for color analysis. We're getting ready to do a bunch of like wedding looks for her for a friend's wedding. And so we were talking about all of that. And she had come in wearing this sort of spring green dress. And she ended up being a spring. And I really do feel like a lot of people have some inherent understanding of what their best colors are.
Yeah. And are they automatically drawn to that, do you think?
I think most people are, although I think especially women, we tend to wear a lot of black because somewhere way back when we were told it was slimming, when actually that is not necessarily the case.
Okay, that is the hot take right now.
Yeah.
The episode, Claire. Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, there are certain seasons where black works for you. And I say wear black all day. If you are a true winter, you wear black all day. You can be in full black and you can look stunning.
Yes.
But then there are other seasons, like the season that I am, I'm a true summer, where I should not wear black at all. And I don't anymore. I've like completely eliminated it.
Can I have all your black then?
Yes. Yeah, we need to bring you in, Karin. And
that'd be so fun. I'd be fascinated to see.
That'll be our follow-up comment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. All right. So you go through and is it a matter of like, do you throw stuff on people like swatches? Like, what does that look like?
So I have 2 sets of very large swaths of fabric. They're called drapes.
Okay.
And I would drape them. They go like all across your chest and your shoulders. So basically all I can see is like the color that you have on with the drape and then your face.
So it's not like influenced by anything else.
Right. You're taking out all of the things that you might get influenced by. So you're removing like any distractions. And you are under neutral lighting. So we're not getting any sort of warm or cool lighting effects. No fluorescence, none of that. And we're looking at what effects show up on the face based on the color that you have. And so some colors will warm a person up or cool them off. Some will cause like a sort of a ruddiness factor in the face. Some will have unnecessary shadowing, or you might look chalky. It's really interesting to actually see all the different effects that the colors can have.
And is it surprising sometimes to the client?
Yeah, definitely. For people, some people are more tuned into color, and so they're able to really see the effects, in real time, like going from one color to the next. You can see like a big difference in the way that your face looks. And for the people that really can see color really well and pay attention to it, it can be a pretty dramatic process to watch happen.
Yeah. So are there certain people where you're like, this is your signature color and like, this is what you should wear? I'm just thinking from like a personal branding standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. And how would that play into the image that they want to be projecting to the world?
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of times, and this may sound a little bit kooky, but a lot of times people's personalities also sort of correlate to the season that they are, which I know that sounds a little strange, but
I want to know that.
A lot of times people who have really strong personalities end up being in very vibrant palettes. And I think a lot of times those are the same people that end up being strong leaders in an organization. And so they may be up on stage. And so it's actually perfect because you can put them in those colors that like really give them presence, but don't overpower them. Like they harmonize really well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's kind of magical sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about, and I'm not going to say the name just because I don't want to she'd probably be happy to be outed, but like there's a person who you work with and I work with who wears very vibrant colors. And it's so awesome. It works so well for her. And I love that so much. And it makes sense because she's a strong leader and she wears strong colors and she can pull it off.
Yes.
And it's funny because I think about, having worked in TV news for so many years, like you were taught to wear bright jewel tone colors. And perhaps that might have been correlated to the idea of coming across as authoritative. If you were dressing with these strong colors, you will appear more, and I could be completely making this up, but like more credible, perhaps?
Yeah, well, I think that's sort of the psychology of color right there, that, certain colors or tones of certain colors make you come across as like coming forward on the camera too.
Right, for sure.
And so I think there's probably a lot of factors that go into that. But I think you can really use that to your advantage too. And really in any of the palettes, you can kind of figure out, like if you're someone who's in a softer, lighter palette, and you have to be on a stage, there are ways of still making that impactful by then taking maybe the silhouettes of the clothing and doing something stronger with the lines of the clothing if you're in a softer palette.
That makes sense.
And so you just have to kind of combine all of that information to come up with that perfect wardrobe for that person. So you're taking the color, the shape of the body, what they're actually doing and how they need their clothes to function. All of those things kind of have to come together, and you have to consider all of it in order to get that really great end result.
Well, I know that, we worked together with a client on their main stage speakers at a big conference, and you suited them up beautifully. They looked
Thank
fabulous.
you.
But I remember I was working with the same client. It was before you had come on the scene, and it was almost like a TED Talk sort of experience. And the person comes walking out, and she was in like 5-inch stilettos, and I'm like, oh Lordy. I'm like, are you sure you want to wear those shoes? Because, you are in a high stakes situation giving a TED Talk, and you want to make sure that you are not worried about tripping over
Right.
your feet as you are in the midst of that. But to her, that gave her great confidence.
Yeah.
And
Some
so
people can pull that off.
it was pretty, and she did such a fabulous job. But I would love to just know a little bit more about the psychology. And I think actually this is like a little cheat. You sent me something called Enclothed Cognition. What are you talking about with Enclothed Cognition?
So, and there have actually been like scientific studies done on this, but the term really means that what you wear influences how you like think, feel, and act, and how you do your job. So one of the studies that was done took like a group of people and put them in, they were told white doctors, like the white coats that doctors would wear. And then they had them like sit down and do a series of tasks. I don't remember if it was like a certain test or whatever, but the people that wore those lab coats or the doctor white coats did a better job on their tasks than the people that did not. And this is way more scientific. It was actually a published article. You can go read it. I'm probably not doing a very good job explaining it, but
we will put a link in
the
the
takeaway.
You can find it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The takeaway is that, what you wear really makes a difference in how you do your job. And I think a lot of my clients feel that way, once we've really sort of completed their new wardrobes. It's like they look good, they feel good when they walk out of the house. They don't have to worry or mess with what they're wearing. They're not second guessing it when they walk into that important meeting. And so they just, they do a better job of their job.
Yeah.
Because they're not worried about what they're wearing. Like that's taken care of, and they're branded well personally, and they can just go do what they need to do.
I think every person in the work world has challenges around what to wear, unless you are somebody who is just gifted at figuring out their own style on their own. But what I really love about Claire is she is somebody who can make anyone feel really good about how they are showing up. And in today's bonus content, we have a little snippet of conversation where she talks about some of the successes that she's had with those who don't fit into like the, societal model of the perfect body type, which I think is really valuable advice. So if you want to listen to how she approaches that clientele, it's worth listening to the conversation. If you go to speakerdynamics.com/bonus content, you'll hear her talk about how she's had a lot of success with people who are every body type imaginable. So go to speakerdynamics.com/bonus content, and you can hear how Claire approaches every client, no matter what their body type or shape is, with the same enthusiasm, and has had some great success for those who figured that they would never be able to find something that makes them feel good about how they're showing up. So with that in mind, I wanted to just thank all of you for showing up for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please pass it along to your friends, to your colleagues, and help them to join the Speaker Dynamics Own the Room community. Until next time, everybody.